Hey there, friends, and welcome back to another 3-Minute Thoughts. My name is Derek, and in the next 3 minutes, we're going to take a look at 2 Corinthians chapters 1 through 4. When the early Corinthian church would have first heard this second letter being read to them, they were hearing from a bruised and scarred apostle who loved them deeply, but also a man who had been misunderstood, criticized, and questioned by them. This isn't just Paul the theologian. This is more Paul the pastor, and he's opening his heart. Let's start with chapter 1. Chapter 1 begins with this idea of comfort, not the soft, sentimental kind of comfort, but the kind forged in hardship. Paul reminds them that God is the God of all comfort, the one who meets his people in their affliction, not pulling them out of it. The Corinthians lived in a city obsessed with strength, wealth, and achievement. Pain was seen as weakness, so Paul flips their script. Suffering is the place where God trains you to give to others what he's given to you. He even brings up that near-death experience in Asia, something so crushing he thought he wasn't going to make it. Chapter 2 shifts to something tender, the issue of church discipline. Paul had written a painful letter earlier confronting sin within the community. What mattered now wasn't punishment, but restoration. Forgive, comfort, reaffirm your love. For the first hearers, this was a huge correction. Corinth loved drama, factions, long grudges, but Paul says, no more. If God restores you, you restore. If Christ forgives, you forgive. What it meant then was that the church is not a courtroom. It's a family that fights for each other's healing. In chapter 3, Paul addresses one of the things his critics used against him. He did not carry fancy letters of recommendation, while other preachers did. Paul didn't. His answer is simple. You are my letter of recommendation. Their changed lives were proof of his ministry. Then Paul moves into that beautiful contrast between the old covenant and the new. When Moses came down the mountain, his face literally glowed, but glory faded. Paul says the glory of the Spirit in believers is far better and far more permanent. The early Christians, hearing this, would have felt both humbled and uplifted. The Spirit who filled apostles also filled ordinary, air quotes there, believers. And then in chapter 4, Paul delivers one of the greatest themes. Fragile people carry an unbreakable gospel. We have this in jars of clay. For the Corinthians who prized status, polish, and reputation, that metaphor was shocking. Clay jars were cheap, brittle, everyday containers, but Paul is saying that's us. But inside of us, the treasure is Christ's light that will shine through us. Life may press you, confuse you, strike you down, but it cannot destroy what Jesus has placed in you. The early church needed this because they lived under daily pressure, and it's the same message that you and I need today. Brokenness is not the end of the story. Christ shines brightest through the cracks. Be well, friends.